Everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome back to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events, share and inspire, and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You're currently watching the Sunday afternoon drawing group with me, Jason Leeser, hosted every Sunday at 1 p.m. Artists, feel free to zoom in by clicking on the link in the events area in the Reinventing the Tattoo community. If it's your first time zooming into Reinventing the Tattoo, who knows, you could win a t-shirt. You may be beaming in from YouTube or Facebook. Maybe you're listening to the podcast, but you can always get the latest event schedule and updates and notifications at the official Reinventing the Tattoo community, found at both app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, or directly at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. If this is working for you, please let me know in the comments in the chat below, and please tag a friend who loves tattoos. As well, if you think you're getting a lot out of these, please do us a favor and head over to YouTube and make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons so that way you can always stay up to date with all the latest drawing groups and webcasts that we do. All Reinventing the Tattoo Network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars. Seriously, all of it can be enjoyed on demand and found in the library, as well as the YouTube and the podcast channels. There are countless tattoo and art rabbit holes for you to dive into. It's actually perfect for the front room of your studio or to entertain your tattoo clients as they're getting tattooed. Just some food for thought. In fact, we're beaming out 4 channels, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can find that at reinventing247.com. We have some weekly staple shows that we always encourage people to tune into, starting today, Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, with me, Jason Leeser, hosting a drawing group where we go through and we talk about, different drawing and painting techniques, different things to focus on in your tattoo career, tips and tricks that we've learned over the years, different tools of the trade, some reviews, all different types of things related to the tattoo industry and helping you further your career. This is followed at 9 p.m. by the Tattoo Weekly Show with Lauren Gregory, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks of the Fireside Tattoo Network. On Mondays at 9 a.m., we have the Early Bird Drawing Group with Kier, and that is followed on Mondays at 9 p.m. by a subscribers exclusive drawing group with Guy Aitchison himself. This is only for people that subscribe to the Reinventing the Tattoo canon. Tuesdays at 10 a.m., we have another live drawing and painting group with Ricardo Sertavan, a very good friend of mine and insanely talented artist, where he usually goes through and discuss different philosophies and business strategies, art tips and tricks and how to draw and sketch better. Wednesdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley. Thursdays at 10 a.m., we have a subscriber exclusive with Kier, focusing on fundamentals. All skill levels and apprentices are encouraged to attend live. Thursdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn Baker and Jordan Ruckus, where different people that have been collecting tattoos from all around the world can beam in and go through and share some of their stories. We have a number of special upcoming events that take place in the real world. Starting in February 5th and 6th, Reinventing the Tattoo will be live from the Red Tree Gallery and True Tubes headquarters out in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to be doing a lot of art jams. We'll maybe have some seminars. There's going to be a ton of great art stuff going on out at the True Tubes headquarters in Red Tree Gallery. And that is February 5th through 6th. So please tune into that. You're not going to want to miss it. April 11th through 14th, we have the New Hampshire Inspiring Tours with Sean Barber and Nick Baxter, where they will be taking a select group of artists out to do a small, intensive, 3-day-long painting workshop. It's looking like it's going to be absolutely incredible. It's definitely not going to be something you want to miss. May 20th through 22nd, we have Hell City, Columbus. That's coming up. That's one of the premier tattoo conventions in the country. June 3rd through 5th, 2022, we have the new Deadly Tattoo Convention in Calgary, Canada. That has an all-star lineup. The booths are currently sold out. I know I've been trying to get one and I'm currently on the waiting list. Either way, I'll probably still go up to it just because it's turning out to be that incredible of a show. July 8th through 10th, 2022, we have the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo with a whole bunch of Reinventing the Tattoo track artists. It's going to be at an amazing venue and it's going to be super easy to get to from anywhere. July 29th through 31st, 2022, we have the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio with Tony Urbanek. Once again, looking like it's going to be an absolutely incredible show. Definitely not going to want to miss that one either. Would like to go through and take a quick minute to go through and thank some of our sponsors, starting with Inkjet Stencils. Inkjet Stencils, print stencils directly from a mobile phone, a computer, or your tablet. Save your time, save your hands, save your apprentices' hands. I've used these myself and they're absolutely incredible. What's better than being able to literally stencil a photograph on the skin? I can't think of a whole lot. So, yeah. Next, we have Interstate Ink LA. Many of you may know Church from his awesome custom sneakers that you can see on Instagram. His studio is seeking resident and guest artists, all clean and sober. If you are an artist in recovery looking for a supporting studio or you know someone that needs one, hit them up on Instagram at Interstate Ink LA. Next, we have Raw Pigments, a tattoo pigment that's tapping into the source, rawpigments.co. I know it's kind of hard to see that little logo there, so let me see if I can move it around for you. Yay, there we go. They are 100% acrylic free, vegan friendly. They are all natural and they are awesome. Definitely give those a shot. I've started adding a whole lot of those to my own color collection. And I have to say, I'm really impressed. Next, we have worldtattooevents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. There's constant updating as conventions are getting rescheduled like crazy. So if you want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest news on what's happening in the tattoo community and in the tattoo world around you, as far as live in-person conventions and events, take a look at worldtattooevents.com. Next, we have Delize Pro, known in the rest of the world as Dermalize Pro. Thank you, international copyright laws. Protect your art. If you're still using cling wrap to wrap your tattoos up when they're done, it's time to step your game up. This stuff was designed to heal tattoos. It's microporous, helps keep out all different types of germs, bacteria. It's really the safest and best way to go about it. And of course, Tattoo Now, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in SEO and professional development for tattooers of all levels. They're now accepting new clients. So if you're really trying to get a better presence out there, if you're really trying to really get your footprint down so that, hey, everyone knows who you are, where you work, and what your work looks like, reach out to Tattoo Now. This is what they do. And they are very good at it. And of course, I'd like to thank the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison, who you can find at guyaitchison.com and tattooeducation.com, where you can pick up a copy of his Biomech Encyclopedia. He's got tons of DVDs, some custom machines for sale, tons of original oil paintings that he's done, and much, much more. So you're definitely going to want to stop over there to check those out. Been thinking about picking up a new painting for myself, so who knows? Maybe you'll grab it before I do. But thank you, Guy. Without you, none of this would be possible, and I probably wouldn't be here right now. So thank you very much. Would also like to take a minute to go through and thank two of our affiliates, the Fireside Tattoo Network and the Apprenticeship Diaries. Many of you may know the Fireside Tattoo Network on YouTube or podcast. It is absolutely incredible. There is a wealth of knowledge there. All you have to do is go and watch. It's not going to teach you how to tattoo, but it will teach you how to tattoo better. And the Apprenticeship Diaries. If you're looking to get your foot in the door and become a tattoo artist, if you're trying to figure out what path to take or what advice to listen to, take a look at the Apprenticeship Diaries. It's going to go through and it will tell you the best and most effective way to go through and get your foot in the door to get started in this industry in the right way. And no, buying a kit off of Amazon is not the right way. So thank you very much. That's our intro. Yeah, cheers. Welcome to the show and let's get going. Okay, close that. Hey, Sheila. How's it going? Another Philadelphia native. I'm happy to hear that. I myself am right outside in the suburbs of Philadelphia. Maybe we'll get together and do some painting live one day. Who knows? Fabian, hello. Julia, what's up? How's it going, everyone? Hope you guys are liking the show. I'm going to be working on this oil painting that I started a while back. Hopefully you guys will like to watch me as I paint and talk a little bit. You just go through and adjust one or two settings. Cool. This way other people can join if they want to. As always, if anyone ever has any questions at any point in time, please, by all means, feel free to let me know. There we go. Cool. Much better. Yay. All right. So let me switch my camera angle and we're going to do this. So if you'll take a look in the upper left corner, that is the photo reference that I'm going based off of. You can see how I've already gone through and blocked a whole bunch of things in. From here, what I'm going to end up doing, let's see, top chat, live chat. Let's see if anyone's commented in the YouTubes. Doesn't look like it. Cool. Yeah, good, cool. Awesome. So I've already gone through and blocked in a lot of my tones. Now I'm going to be going through and just kind of tweaking some things, adding some detail. Julia just had a comment in the Facebook. Why do certain colors bleed? Yellow bleeds on me. And I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. If you're talking about why does it bleed, as in like when it's first getting done, why does the blood appear more so in yellow? Then that's probably because it's much lighter pigment. It's much more translucent. It could be any number of reasons though. So I'm sorry, I couldn't give you a more specific answer to that. We've got Ricardo with us today.
How's it going, man?
Make sure to tune into the Tuesday morning drawing group with Ricardo, which is absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, sorry about the wind. I'm trying to find a spot. I'm in the city right now. Spending some time with some family, but I thought
Which city would that be?
Chicago. I'm in Chicago right now.
You're in Chicago.
Chicago. I'll show you guys this tower here. There we go. Pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
It's called the Willis Tower now. It used to be the Sears Tower, but I think somebody else bought it. Some amazing architecture and stuff up here. mostly hanging out with some family for Christmas and stuff like that. I thought I'd pop in and say hello. That painting's looking great, man.
Yeah, I got all of my tones blocked in. I'm just trying to go through right now and just like, start tweaking some of the detail. I've got kind of a warmish yellow light on it, so it's not actually like true to tone.
Yeah.
I may actually turn that off. Let's see how that looks. Hopefully it's not too backlit.
There it is. And now you can see all those values coming through.
Yeah, it's amazing how just the temperature of the light that you use can really affect the way that you view things and the way that your color appears.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I like to try to use as true to daylight as I can, like any kind of light bulb I can find that's like that, or LED that's as true to daylight as possible. Seems to work out pretty well that way.
Oh, absolutely.
That looks great, though. I can see all those little nuances inside the nasal cavity starting to come through. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've got a little bit more tweaking to do here and there. Some gradients to blend out and some more details to add. And then actually today I wanted to start focusing on texture and really getting into some of the tiny little like bone pits. You know how if you look at a real skull and you look at any bone close up, it's going to have these tiny, tiny, tiny little like holes and divots, throughout it, which creates this really nice texture. It's almost like it was painted on with sand. It's got a very nice grainy texture. So I think I'm going to try to focus on some of that and start tweaking some of the details on that today.
Yeah, I can see that. It looks like you're at a pretty good spot to start glazing some more of those shapes in there too. For like some of the turns on some of the teeth cavities and stuff like that, for example,
Oh yeah, I haven't even gotten to that part yet. That's just kind of blocked in.
Yeah. It's excellent, dude. I like it a lot.
Oh, I mean, if you like it, I can't be doing that bad.
Come on now.
In fact, actually, what I think I'm going to do, I think you brought up a good point. I'm actually going to go through and flip this around.
Yeah.
Work on some of those teeth today.
Yeah, it's always good to do that too with paintings. Like turn them upside down, turn them the opposite way that you've been working on it, sideways, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like doing it this way because it helps you focus more on just like the shapes.
Yeah.
And like, what do you see as opposed to going through and, if this was, straight up and down as I started out blocking in some of those tones, you get really caught up in, okay, I'm painting a skull, but if you're looking at it, what you essentially want to do is just focus on shapes. That's it.
Exactly.
Should probably flip this guy around to, focus on your shapes, focus on, what it is that you really want people to look at.
Yeah, exactly. Start bringing the focal point into play. That's looking great, man. Because at this point, you can almost start glazing those, like all those little nuanced cast shadows and stuff like that to help make the form that much more real. Trying to block some of the wind here. Sorry about that if you're catching a lot of that.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. I'm actually adjusting. I think I'm not going to keep that reference photo up there.
Yeah, it's a good idea. You can really see it.
Turn that off. Pull up this guy real quick. Yeah, I was really afraid that the image was going to be backlit. There we go. There we go. Much better. Now you get to see my smiling face.
Yeah, it's always a plus. Working on that killer art too, man. Look at that. Isn't it crazy, like how much time can just like slip by as you're on these projects, and how eager you can be to get home to just jump right back in it?
Oh yeah, dude. Without a doubt, man.
The other day, I told a friend of mine, I was like, I'll be there as soon as I can. I'll be there as soon as I can. And I was like, oh shit, another 30 minutes has gone by. I've been working on this little painting for an extra 30 minutes. Damn it. I felt terrible, but it happened. And yeah.
Yeah, I
But
ended up being up until 4 a.m. 2 nights ago, only because like I just totally lost track of time. I was, watching something on YouTube while I was working on this guy. And next thing you know, it's 4 a.m. and I'm like, I have to wake up and tattoo in a few minutes.
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, not a few minutes, a couple hours, but what I mean.
At least it wasn't like, oh man, I drank too much tonight and I have to wake up in 2 or 3 hours.
No, I've learned my lesson. I've done that a few times, and yeah, don't ever want to do that again.
Likewise, dude.
It's one thing as we all start off as like fledgling tattooers, as I like to call it.
Yeah.
We all start off with that mentality of like, this is the greatest job in the world. I can go out and party all the time and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, if you want to succeed, if you really want to do well in this industry, you have got to be responsible about everything that you do.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it sucks.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yeah, I want to go out with my friends on, Friday nights. It's like, oh, but wait, I have to wake up and go to work tomorrow because it's Saturday, because I don't work normal hours.
Yep. You got it. Got it, boss.
It's a double-edged sword, man, because yeah, it's a great, great time. You get to hang out with awesome people, get to meet awesome other artists. Tattooing can literally take you around the world if you let it. But it's got its downsides. You have to be self-disciplined, and you have to know your own limitations when it comes down to, okay, if I do want to go out, say it's a friend's birthday party or something like that, which I think I actually just missed one the other night because I had to wake up and go to work. But if it's a friend's birthday party, it's like, okay, I can go out for exactly this much time, before I know I have to go home.
Yeah, just divide the time up a little bit, man. Be responsible about it. Accountability, I guess, right? Around self-accountability.
Yep. Well, because at the end of the day, it's you and your appointments, and that's it. It's not like you have anyone that you could potentially blame anything else on.
Yeah.
If you show up on time, you show up on time. Right. If you're late, it's because you're late. It's personal accountability and responsibility.
Yeah. I've been there before too, man. It's hard. But you learn through process though. So that's good.
And process, experience, there are certain few privileged people out there in the world that can learn through hearing the stories and advice of others.
Yeah.
But 99% of people out there have got to experience things for themselves before they can turn around and say, okay, yeah, I've learned my lesson there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely say that I'm the 98.999999999% of that.
Yeah, I've always been very, very fortunate. I do heed the advice of others quite often.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if it doesn't make sense, or maybe I'm having issues with it and I'm questioning motivations, or maybe I'm questioning like, I don't know, like reasoning or rationale behind it, then I'm like, well, I'll give it a shot anyway and just see how it goes. Yeah. Maybe it didn't work for them, but who knows? Maybe it'll work for me. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if there's no real rationale, or if I can't understand the process, if I can't comprehend the process, that's when I start to get frustrated. And that's when I start to really question, okay, well, why am I listening to this person's advice?
That's exactly it, man. It takes a little bit more time to kind of absorb it. And when you haven't and you don't understand exactly what's going on, it can be frustrating for sure. I agree with you.
Yeah, I won't ever forget when I was in school, I had one professor, and at the beginning of his class, he said, "This is not going to be a class like a normal class. This is going to be a class where you have got to literally have 100% faith and trust in me
Yeah.
and just follow my instructions."
Yeah.
He said, and he's like, "I'm not going to show you what the semester is going to produce, but what I am going to show you is what the end result of the assignment should be." Right? Not the
Right.
semester long one, but like, at the end of every class, we were given homework. And that's what he showed us. He's like, "Okay, so this is what we're going to work on producing for this next portion." Right. And it was
Yeah.
some like abstract thing with like lines and shapes and whatever.
Right.
But he never went through and explained anything else. And, I asked him about it. I said, "Listen, I'm struggling with this, man. Like, if I have a clear concept of where this is going, I'm fine. Right? If I have a clear concept of why am I doing this or what is the end result going to be, cool. I need to know where I'm going. I can't, like, I have a lot of problems just doing things based purely off of, I'm not going to tell you why we're doing this. I just do this, right? If you're not explaining things to me or how this is going to benefit me in the long run, why am I going to do it?"
Right. I agree.
Granted, that's just me. And I question everything. That's kind of the way that I was raised. So for me to turn around and wholeheartedly say, "No, I'm just going to do this because this is what this person said,"
Yeah.
that doesn't usually work too well with me.
That's awesome, man.
Well, I like to understand the why. It all comes back to what's the why.
Right.
And if you can understand the why, a lot of times you can start to piece together how that why is going to reflect, or it's going to help illuminate and enlighten you to the reasoning behind the process. If that makes any sense at all, what I just said.
I just kind of see where you're coming from for sure. I mean, it's less fumbling, it's less aggravation, it's less possible like bad outcomes. You know what I mean? So yeah, why wouldn't it lead a little bit quicker to what your overall goal is, or what you're trying to attain? It makes complete sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, it also comes down to time, right? Because I'm not trying to waste time for anything or anyone because, life, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to create the most efficient process I possibly can. And this guy's process was great. I wasn't a big fan of his instructing or his teaching style. I did not like that one bit. And I told him that at the end of the semester. I was like, I struggled. I really, really struggled with this,
Yeah.
And I got really discouraged after a while, to the point that like I only showed up one day a week for class.
Wow. Yeah.
And I did that consciously. It's not like I was slacking off or anything. It's like, why am I even going to bother to go to class when I'm not going to understand anything that he's talking about? When I'm not given a clear direction, or if I'm not given a clear outcome and what we're trying to accomplish, if nothing is being explained to me, why am I going to go to class? Why wouldn't I just figure it out on my own?
Yeah. Totally understand.
And he understood that. He did. And we sat down and we had a nice long talk at the end of the semester after he showed us what the semester's product was, right?
Yeah.
And he had everyone in, and it all started off with a very simple assignment. Go home and draw something that you see. That was it. Draw something that you see.
Yeah.
What is that going to teach me?
I think if anything, I mean, for me, if I was to tell somebody to do that, I'm gonna be able to see the way they view things, the perspective that they use, like what they find interesting. What is it that made you draw what it is that you drew? You know what I mean?
We were not even diving into the why.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it was simply the first stage to an abstraction process.
Yeah.
And that's not, we were never told that we're going to be doing an abstraction. We were just told, go draw something, anything, doesn't matter what it is. Create a nice line drawing and bring it in.
Right.
That was it. That's the only instruction we were given.
Yeah.
And it was, okay, now that we have that line drawing, we're going to divide that into eighths or chop that into, ninths or whatever. We created a 9 square grid and we were told to pick a square, zoom in and draw it again.
Yeah.
And just draw what's there and block in shapes, right? Random areas, just block them in. They can be white or black. Block them in. Doesn't matter what they are, just block them in. And it's like, what are we doing? Because none of us had any direction. We were not given any instruction on how this was going to benefit us. And like I said, I struggled a lot in that class. I ultimately ended up understanding, why we ended up doing that. But that wasn't until literally the last day of critiques. So, I do have a tendency to get discouraged sometimes when I don't know the why. And that's what really puts me off.
Hey, Jason, I'm glad I got to join for a little bit. I just
you got to go, dude. Go do all the things, Ricardo.
But that painting's looking killer, man. It's looking great. So
yeah, it's getting there. We're moving through it.
I will talk to you soon, man.
Sounds good, homie. You be safe.
Okay, thank you. All right, you too, man. Bye.
Later. Another question from Julia. Do you use flat needles in your tattooing? If you're talking flat as in mags, then yes, but not. I don't know of any tattooer out there in this day and age that actually uses flats anymore. And there's a very good reason why. And for any of you that might have been around in tattooing for a while, the reason why probably better than most people. And that's because when you're tattooing with flat, like true flat groupings, all you're doing is tattooing with essentially a razor blade, a small little razor blade. Because when all those tiny little points line up together in a straight line, creates a very sharp edge. So there are not too many tattooers out there that I have met that actually still use flats. 99% of tattooers out there that I know of will use a mag configuration of some type. And the reason behind that is because it causes less trauma, gives you a bit more freedom, but still covers a much larger surface area than a small round or even a large round. Unless you're talking like one of those comical rounds that's like, a 43 round shader or something like that, or an 89 round shader. And yes, I have seen an 89 round shader before. It was a bug pin round shader, but still it was a round shader. And it's like, how can you actually use something that large and round? Because at that point in time, it's great for novelty, but like it's almost comical in the fact that, it's the edges of that are probably going to cause so much trauma that it's like, why not just use a mag? I mean, I'm sure that there's a methodology behind it, and maybe I just don't know that methodology. And there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't know, and I'm not going to claim to know everything because I know the fact that I don't. There's a lot that I'm still learning. And I learn something new every single day. You know, I am not the end all be all. I am not some kind of like, you know, tattoo know it all or anything like that. There's a lot of stuff out there I'm still picking up. And I've been doing it for quite a few years. But, you know, we're getting into a almost like a renaissance in the tattoo game where, you know, people are coming out with new stuff, new technology, and new ways of doing things that no one's ever thought of before, which is pretty awesome. You know, I know a lot of artists that have switched over to using a smaller diameter pin, you know, otherwise known as, you know, like a 00 bug pin or, you know, a number 10, you know, for everyday use for everything from lining, color packing, you know, soft black and gray shading. You know, different people are using different things now than they ever thought of before. You know, back in the day, it was you have your standard number 12 medium taper, and that was it. That's what you got. You had to make it work. You know, I think it's important to keep up with tattoo technology. Um, I think it's something that, you know, if we don't try out some of the newer things that are out there, then we never know if we're going to be missing out on something, especially because we need to be able to, and this is my own personal philosophy, by the way. So I'm not saying any of you out there have to agree with it or, you know, abide by it, but there are a lot of clients out there that are really starting to move in a certain direction for the things that they would like to see or things that they would like to have. Some of those things require utilizing new tools. And if we can't pick up that new tool and utilize it in a proficient way, how are we going through and how are we going to be able to go through and provide for our clients that might be asking for something very specific? You know, it's not, you know, if you see people that want that super, super soft photorealism, black and gray kind of a look, not, I mean, maybe you can achieve that using a number 12 medium taper pin, but I sure as fuck can't. And I know that. And I'm sorry for cursing there. Curse like a sailor sometimes. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm also a firm believer that words themselves are not malicious. The context in which we use them is what's malicious. But then again, YouTube may disagree with that. Who knows? Yeah, angle the camera a little bit more towards me. There we go. Let's blend that out, that little piece that I just did. Ooh, yeah, I just cut the bristles off of this guy. This one will be cool. I always like having a stiffer nylon bristle brush around to blend. And I'll cut the bristles pretty short. So the bristles on this work quite a bit longer. And the reason why I like to cut them pretty short is because it makes them a lot stiffer. Much like for anyone out there that still uses a coil machine, right? If you're still using a coil machine and you know this for a fact, if you cut that front spring short, that machine's going to run pretty zippy. You know, think of the old Roll-O-Matic, you know, cutback liners, right? It's going to make it a lot stiffer, which is going to give you a much faster return force. You know, so I always like to keep something like this on hand just to like get some of these really nice smooth blends. You know, lay down a little bit of paint, blend it in, work it in. Lay down a little bit more paint, blend it in, work it in. You know, sometimes I do like to have more of like a brush stroke type painterly look. Sometimes I don't though. Sometimes I like it to be a bit smoother. That way you can really play with like a texture contrast, you know, between areas of super smooth and super textured, super rough, you know, which is yet another type of contrast that I think a lot of people actually end up overlooking it, is the contrast in texture. You know, if you have something that's really, really, really smooth, maybe don't put it next to something else that's really smooth. Maybe put it next to something that's pretty rough, you know, something pitted or something checkered or graded or chiseled out, something rough, you know, something or more of like an organic texture if it's metallic. You know, that way you can really play off of that contrast. Hey, Enrico, thank you. So let's see. Let's go through. I'm going to grab a. Let's go through. We'll start tweaking this a little bit. Lately, I've been a huge fan of this gel medium that I got as a tip from Christian Perez, and it is making my oils dry fast, but not too fast, right? It's not like dry, it's nowhere near drying as fast as acrylic, but it is making them dry almost completely overnight to the point that it's like super tacky, which is pretty awesome in my opinion, because that was always my major gripe with oils. See if I can move my hand back. A bit more of a softer brush in there. Really brush it out. Maybe grab a little bit more gel. I like using the gel medium. So this is my first oil painting back after like 15 years of not touching oils. So I'm slowly but surely starting to adopt it to my current methods of painting with liquid acrylic, and trying to find like the little tricks that really make it work best for me. And using this gel medium almost as if it's water to blend out like a liquid acrylic or a watercolor is working really well, because the gel medium itself is translucent, so you can see straight through it. You know, so you can really take something like this little edge and blend it out pretty easily. And then as it dries, it'll dry as a bit more translucent, but it's just like using liquid to create a glaze. You know, you can go through and do lots of thinner, transparent layers. A lot of people will use liquid. I'm just not a big fan of how shiny liquid is. Shiny when it dries, that is. It's just not something that I'm a massive fan of. I don't typically like paintings, well, any of my paintings to shine per se. Part of the reason being is because I find that to just be very distracting. You know, when you've got something that's super, super shiny, you know, a lot of times the glare ends up taking away from some of the image. And that's not cool with me. I don't like that. You know, I want to be able to see the whole image in its entirety all at one time. So I just grabbed a very small filbert just to like kind of lightly brush in a little bit more highlight here in this little bone protrusion. But I'm going to switch gears in just a second and use this super tiny little filbert to go through and start creating some texture. And I'm using this filbert completely dry, by the way. Let's go with a little bit of that, a little bit of Payne's gray. Kind of dabbing it on. Using a value that's very similar to what's there, maybe a shade darker or lighter, just to go through and create a little bit of that texture. So lately, within the past week or two, I was asked by a coworker of mine to price a piece out for him. And I think that's something, to me, that's something almost very personal, right? Because there are a lot of depending factors on that, as far as like pricing structure and things of that nature. If you work in a studio and you go completely based flat off of hourly rate, that's cool. That'll work. Some people will prefer to do it in whole day sessions, half day sessions. Some people still price by the piece, and then it's like, okay, well, that's great and all, but then how would you price something out like a back piece? Would that be a flat price or would that be session work? So every artist has their own methodology and their own factors to consider. But as one artist mentioned, and it's something that I'd like to bring up for discussion, actually, very prominent artist in the tattoo community posted something on one of the Facebook groups I'm a part of about, value. What do clients tend to value more so than other things? What do you think they place more value on, custom design that they have a hand in creating, that they've sat down and collaborated on the idea with you? Or do you feel that they place more value on, and a completely 100% original image that you have come up with and designed for your own pleasure? It's obviously with the intent to do it as a tattoo, but where does that value lie? And I think the overwhelming amount of people said that in their experiences, the clients tend to value custom designs that they've had a hand in creating and designing and a say in the design aspect and process more so than anything else, which I can see 100%. I think there's something to be said for an artist that sits down and creates a ton of 100% unique, original custom designs that they are trying to do and they are trying to sell. And in my opinion, those 100% unique custom designs are, in my personal opinion, probably worth just as much, if not more so, because they've taken the time to create something completely original and new that has never seen the light of day ever before. But then you run into a couple of other issues and a couple of other questions where it's, okay, so how much influence should a client have in the design process? We are artists, yes, but how much of that client input do we have to take into consideration? If you look at it from the aspect of being a commissioned artist, going through and creating an original work of art for another person that is going to be paying you for it, are they paying you for the art, or are they paying you to create what they want? Without any of your artistic input. Maybe they just lack the ultimate skill set to be able to go through and create their own painting. Maybe they lack the amount of time it takes for them to paint something that they would like. So they're hiring you as an artist to go through and create that for them. Who knows, right? Insert reason X, Y, or Z here. Is it ultimately, I think it ultimately comes down to a matter of perception. And I think, establishment. If you have established yourself in doing a specific type of thing, a specific style or a specific genre or a specific theme, and people are coming to you for that specific style, genre, theme, subject matter, whatever, then, obviously they're coming to you because they like your work, and you've obviously established yourself as the person that can best provide that to them. However, if they're coming to you with an idea that's outside of your scope of expertise, and they want you to do like a portrait of their dog, and normally you're used to doing things that are a bit more abstract, could you do that? Yes. But is that something that's within your repertoire? Is that something that you would charge more for, as opposed to something that, you would probably create anyway for the fun of it, just because you enjoy doing it? So does that necessitate a better price? Does that necessitate, you getting outside your comfort zone and sucking it up? Maybe you've got a whole bunch of bills due. Now I know I'm playing with the focus on the camera. Sorry. Let's see if I can get it right. Maybe. Is that better? A little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. That all has to be good enough for now. That's going to be the best it gets. Maybe that was too much. There we go. That's probably going to be the best it gets. But, so I think a lot of it comes down to, what do you feel comfortable with and what do you have going on? And I think that's ultimately the argument that that this artist was trying to make, was that, you're not going to go to Leonardo and ask him for, an abstract version of nude descending the staircase number 2, or you're not going to ask him to create something more like Jackson Pollock, right? You're going to go to Da Vinci for a Da Vinci. You're going to go to Rembrandt for a Rembrandt. You're going to go to people like Shane O'Neill, Paul Booth, or Bob Tyrrell for a portrait. Granted, if you go to Paul Booth, it might be a crazy, scary portrait, but that's who you're going to go to. Are you going to go to them for a dog portrait? I don't think so. These people have also established themselves in the industry for quite some time. So the chance that they might actually take on your project, I don't know if that'll happen. It might. I'm not saying it won't, Textures. I love textures. Kind of roughing in this glaze here. Obviously, if I was doing this as a tattoo, I would be using a bit of a different technique, but for the intents and purposes of what I'm trying to accomplish, I think it's working pretty well. Yeah, we're getting there. Just takes a little bit of time. So I am here to answer questions as well. Should anyone have any questions, feel free to ask. Now that is part of what I do, is discuss things and answer questions while I'm painting and drawing. You know, and I know I've brought it up in previous episodes, but working in a second physical medium, you know, a secondary analog medium outside of tattooing, in my opinion, is pretty important. You know, because you want to go through and keep those muscles and that muscle memory down. It also gives you a chance to be more expressive and creative, you know, as opposed to being expressive and creative on someone's skin, which I don't really think that there are too many people out there that are actually looking for that. Well, maybe there are, maybe they're just not my clients, but you know, it ends up being a situation where, you know, if I'm given carte blanche by a client, which I've had quite a few times before, that's great and all, but give me a direction. Tell me which direction to run in and I'll take off. But if I'm not given any kind of instruction, if I'm not given any kind of direction, it's almost overwhelming. You know, but then I can go through and I can be a bit more creative and a bit more expressive and not necessarily have to bend to the will or guidelines or, you know, try to make the client happy, because I know they're going to be happy either way. You know, and I think client happiness is a direct reflection of, you know, what we're trying to achieve. Because if the client ain't happy, they ain't coming back. You know, but if the client ends up leaving happy, well, there we go. We are all set, right? Because we know that they're going to come back. We know that they're probably going to get more work done from us, which I believe ultimately is the goal, right? Because we want to have an established clientele. That is, in my opinion, something that we all strive for, is that consistent, established clientele base that will let us do what we want to do and pay us well for it. I do believe that is the ultimate goal. You know, not saying that we don't have the option to get outside our comfort zone occasionally and do things maybe we're not comfortable with, but I know for a lot of my clients, they have a general concept in mind and they know that I can execute that concept. So they want me to do that tattoo because they know I can execute it. You know, so if that's the case and they're not coming to me for artwork, you know, and they're just coming to me to like design something that they know they're going to like in the style or format that they know they want, you know, that's one thing. But you know, some of my other clients give me free reign, and that is the best thing in the world. You know, where it's like, hey, here's a spot, fill it up with something you really want to do. Doesn't happen too often, but when it does, it's like that golden day, you know? Those are the people that, you know, we like to see more of. Add a little bit more of this and a little bit more dark, a little bit more Payne's gray. It's not quite so light. I use a lot of Payne's gray whenever I paint shadowy areas or cooler areas. Part of the reason why is because it's already got a lot of cool tone mixed into it, which means I don't really have to add too much black to it. If it was a tattoo, it'd be a little bit of a different story, but you know, I never like to use straight 100% black whenever I paint a shadow. Usually I'll mix in something like an ultramarine, even when I'm tattooing. I'll mix in something like an ultramarine if it's a cooler shadow area, or I'll mix in something like a burnt umber, you know, something that's got a little bit more of a warm tone, you know, in with the black as I'm tattooing it to give it a warmer or a cooler shade, depending on what kind of a look I'm trying to go for. And it's something you don't really see too many tattooers doing that as they're tattooing, but that's something that'll really give whatever piece you're working on just an added layer of depth and dimension that you might not otherwise have. Because shadows can be cool and shadows can be warm. They're not just shadows. It's not just, you know, areas of dark black. In fact, in any given tattoo, if it's a fine art tattoo, you should only have a few areas of true dark black. You know, anything more than a couple of areas of it, and, you know, you're going to be creating a much more or a much flatter piece, if that makes any sense. Yes, black does hold the longest. And when you think there's enough black, which there has to be black in everything, as far as a tattoo is concerned, there has to be. If you do not have areas of hard black, or if you do not have very defined black outlines in your tattoo, you're not doing something right. That black is going to last way longer than anything else. You know, once again, I am no authority on tattoos and tattooing, though I do know quite a bit about it. But I am not the definitive end all be all. There are plenty of old school tattooers out there that will tell me, like, no, you don't need to mix blue or umber or anything like that in with your tattoos or in with your black to create that kind of a depth and dimension. Just use straight black. I always like to do it just because it, once again, it creates a tone, a tonal value, especially if I'm going through and whipping it out and doing a lot of like old school whip shade. I think a lot of old school tattooers out there would find that it just really takes things to a whole new level, you know, especially because you're working on a toned area. You know, if you're working on someone's skin that maybe they've got a little bit more of a reddish hue, or maybe a little bit more of a yellowish hue, or you know, maybe it's a little bit more of a purplish hue. You know, and I'm not talking people that are already bruised and you're tattooing over a bruise. Lord knows that's no fun. But you know, maybe you're tattooing someone that's got a little bit more pink in their skin. Use a contrasting color to their skin tone in your black, and then whip it out and just look at how much nicer it is, how much more contrasting it is. You know, same thing if you were going to be painting a yellow rose, which I think will probably be my next project for my friend Ian. If you were painting a yellow rose and you really wanted a true dark, shadowy area, use a dark purple. Mix purple in with your black. Seriously, it will change your world. You know, when you neutralize your primary color like that, it creates a whole new set of just depth contrast. Now we're starting to take shape. Now it's starting to get some of that texture. I like the textures. It's time for a little bit of a lighter value, a little bit of a lighter tone. Maybe I'll add a little bit more gel medium just so that it dries quicker. Some very subtle textures. And very, very subtle, almost imperceptible. A little bit darker. Almost too dark, but that's okay. We'll blend that out. But yeah, don't feel free to let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Where are you located? What's going on? You know, I always like to know like where people are watching this kind of stuff from. So if you don't mind, just drop it right down in the chat box below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Let me know what's going on. Hopefully some of my Aussie friends out there in Australia are watching up, saying hi. If they're not, that's cool. If you're listening to the podcast, what's up? Brooke, how's it going? Big shout out to Golden Monkey Tattoo. Would also like to say hi to one of my best friends, a guy named Ian Chapin, owns and works at Yellow Rose Tattoo in North Wales, Pennsylvania. Not North Wales, UK. North Wales, Pennsylvania. Ian's done a bit of work on me, and hopefully he can get me in for something else pretty soon. We go way back, way, way back. And yeah, he's been a major influence in my life, always pushing me to do better. Same thing with Dennis Smythe, up at Body Art Tattoos in Plattsburgh, New York. What's up, Dennis? Just wanted to say hi and what's up. Another major influence in my art career, who I am today, and everything like that. He's a very behind the scenes kind of guy, kind of like the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. He doesn't mind helping out, but he's not trying to be in the spotlight, and I respect that. I just think I need a bit more bright up at the top. Mix in some umber. I'll grab a blending brush and blend that out. Yeah, travel is one of those things that I'm a firm believer everyone should do at some point in time. And not just like local travel, but like international. Get out there, see the world, expand your horizons, expand your influence, go and experience other cultures. You have no idea how it can really, truly shape who you are as an individual when you start to learn and accept that, hey, there are a lot of other ways that people live their lives out here than just what I'm used to. You know, it's something that every now and then I meet someone and it's like you can tell they've never really left their little corner of the world. And I almost feel bad for them because, I mean, don't get me wrong. That's what you like, more power to you. But there's a lot of other stuff out there in the world that if you don't go and experience, if you don't go and see it, or if you just don't have the desire to accept other ways of living, well, then I think you're just cutting yourself short. You know, really going and learning from those experiences. A bit more light up here. Light over here. And if no one's got any comments or questions, I think we only have a couple of people left watching. Um, well, then we'll probably cut it short for today. If you're watching the replays on this, thank you for tuning in. Always appreciated. You know, always trying to spread the good word. And, you know, help other artists out in any way I possibly can. Whether that's through my own knowledge, maybe I got to go and ask someone about something else. You know, but always just trying to help people. I always find that that's pretty much my purpose in life, you know. You know, I just enjoy helping, whether it's helping someone move, although I'm not a big fan of helping people move, but I will. So help me, I will. You know, but I just like to be helpful. So if anyone out there ever needs help with anything, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you think I might be able to shed some light on, hit me up. I'm a very, very easy guy to talk to. I enjoy lots and lots of different things, you know, and I'm more than happy to help just about anyone with just about anything. Unless you think that I just really don't kind of know what I'm talking about in that case. Well, sorry to hear that, but it's a pretty good chance I do. Just sweep some of that stuff down. Good. And now we need to make some of these a bit brighter. Really bring out this stuff. I like doing tiny little paint daubs. This way I know I'm not putting down too much paint. Also gives it that little bit of a texture. Sometimes it's all you need. Just a little bit of a texture in there to help separate some stuff out. Now we got to go a little bit darker. Just really refine some of these little indentations. Really kind of bring that up to speed. There we go. Yep, just moving paint around can be a wonderful thing. It's also very relaxing. I challenge anyone out there, if you're going through a rough patch of time, maybe life's got you down, maybe you're not feeling so decent mentally, pick up a paintbrush. Just start throwing paint around. You don't have to have anything in mind. Just start throwing some stuff around on canvas or board, or try not to use oils on paper, but that just doesn't go well. Trust me on that. Made that mistake once in college and will never do it again. Learned my lesson. Had a painting I worked very hard on kind of disintegrate in front of my eyes. Took a little bit of time, but it did. And it was just very depressing knowing how much time I spent on it. But I learned, and learning is ultimately what really can fuel us to do better on the next piece. It also helps us not have quite so much attachment to certain things. And if you can live your life without attachment, well, most of the battle's already won. Doesn't matter what life challenges you with after that. Maybe a little bit more. This needs a little bit more dark. Maybe not quite so dark. I talk to myself a lot, by the way. That's part of the reason why they let me do these shows. I'm constantly having dialogues with myself about myself, mostly just because I don't really socialize with a whole lot of people. I would rather have a very small core group of friends than have a whole bunch of friends that maybe aren't really friends. I've always found that that's kind of the better way to be. And people will come and go in life, and that's cool. But those hardcore people, those are the people that you can always count on, even if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're drunk and you start talking shit, and you start thinking thoughts you shouldn't be thinking. And those are the people that you call. Those are the ones. Those are true friends right there. And Lord knows I've made plenty of phone calls like that in my life. I've also gotten a lot of calls like that in my life, which is cool. I enjoy that. Makes me feel appreciated sometimes. Make a bit more dark. Bit more of this Payne's gray and black mixture. Create some more texture. Blend that out as we're creating texture. Keeping in mind that the eye will optically mix a lot of these subtle tones and colors. So we don't necessarily need to have it be perfect in some of these outer areas. Just because our eye is going to blend that together. If you look at artists such as Caravaggio, you'll see him do that a lot, where he keeps a lot of things very kind of abstract and loose. And in most of the painting, and then one area of super tight little detail. And that's immediately what your eye goes to. For this next part, I need a short stubby round. Let's go with, you guys might hear a dog, and that's because I still have some in-laws here from the holiday season. So I apologize if you're hearing that dog barking. Literally, that is all he does. I don't think I've heard him be quiet in quite a while, but that's okay. That's okay. Dogs bark. You get used to it. And we'll thin that out with some more gel medium. Check your tone. Add a little bit more white. Add a dash of umber to neutralize the coolness and give it a true neutral tone. Light. More Payne's gray. Give me that soft, subtle, cool tone. A little bit more black. That's better. And then we grab some of that lighter gray tone, or just maybe mix some white in with it. Bring that down in here. Maybe a bit more light. It's the white with the umber. And I'll probably be hanging out for a couple more minutes, guys, and then I'm probably going to shut it down. So if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, or if there's anything you'd like to see on these drawing groups, please, by all means, send me a message, hit me up. You should see my Instagram in the upper right corner. And for those of you that can't exactly make it out, it is Philly Inc. That is all one word, PHILLYINK. And I am more than happy to take whatever discussion topics you might have and include those into the next episode. And actually, after this, I think I'm going to run out to the art supply store, pick up a few things. And who knows, maybe I'll grab another brush or a tube of paint. I know I have to pick up a new big ass canvas, 6 foot by 3 foot. for a commissioned painting that I received. So yeah, should be a fun time. For those of you that might live in the might live on the East Coast, and if you don't know about Jerry's Artorama, you are missing out. It's like heaven on earth, seriously. It's probably the greatest place known to man. Jerry's Artorama literally has just about anything you could ever desire when it comes down to fine art supplies. This is not really a craft store. This is not like a Michael's or an AC Moore, even though I don't think AC Moore is still a thing. This is an art store for fine artists, and they have art supply stores all up and down the East Coast. You just have to find them. I know there's one or two in Connecticut and Massachusetts. There's one in Princeton, New Jersey, which is absolutely awesome. That's the one I go to on Sundays and Mondays occasionally. So if you're ever in that area and you want to bump into me at an art supply store and talk about art materials, I'm all about it, and I can probably talk your ear off about it as well. But hit me up, let me know. And on that note, I'm going to switch my camera back. Rinse my brush real quick. There we go. So thank you very much for everyone for tuning in. I know there's a little bit of delay on the YouTube and the Facebook, but I did want to say thank you to everyone for tuning in today. I always love doing these shows. Hopefully you got something out of today's episode. If you didn't, feel free to leave a comment, leave a note or a mention, and I'll be more than happy to get back to you and address whatever it is you might have had an issue with, or maybe include your topic in the next episode. So until then, thank you very much. Thank you, Guy Aitchison. Thank you, Horseman. It's a very small, selective group of tattooers that I am a part of. Thank you, Horseman. Yeah, thank you, everyone, for watching. And hopefully I will see you next Sunday. So until then, keep the coffee flowing. Lord knows I do all day long, every day, just because I love coffee. And yeah, and I will see you all next Sunday. Cheers.